Welcome to M&A Minute by Finch Brands. I'm Bill Gullen, president of Finch Brands. We are a real-world brand consultancy. We help organizations at key moments like mergers and acquisitions strengthen and clarify the full potential of their brands and businesses. Happy that you're with me today for our latest edition of M&A Minute. Today's topic is don't sleep on the endorser. What I mean by that, one of the techniques that organizations use when they're acquiring companies, at least one of the brand architecture techniques, is they use what we call an endorser, a division of, or a blank company. Sometimes people slap that on almost reflexively to deal with the issue, sort of in a front-facing direction, to do it quickly without making decisions necessarily about how the branding is handled in a long-term way. And that's fine. An endorsed brand strategy works transitionally, and it also sometimes works as a long-term approach. But the reason we say don't sleep on the endorser is that there's a lot of different kinds of endorsed by statements and constructs, and they mean slightly different things, or they can. So let's go back. I think the first time that any of us, or I'll speak for myself, was aware of what an endorsed brand strategy is. I mean, I think back to my parents bought a Ford Taurus, and it was this weird, bulbous, yet somehow smooth-moving car, and it was a Taurus. It was different, but it was Ford. It was sort of endorsed by Ford, which was designed to suggest that some of the attributes that people may have liked about Ford back then extended to even this vehicle that was a little bit different than what we were used to. I used to love watching Spike Lee movies, and before he was sitting there watching the Knicks fail year after year, he was producing movies that were called Spike Lee joints. And a Spike Lee joint became an endorser of whatever movie it was that Spike Lee had come out with. And what was designed to suggest there was that, you could expect all the things that you love about Spike Lee as a director in each one of these movies, even though the plot was different. He was creative. It was called a joint, presumably for a variety of different reasons, but it was a fresh way to do that. That's what sort of from our own past endorsements can be. Now, there's a range of different ways to handle an endorsed brand strategy. Courtyard by Marriott. That's simple. It's just buy. So Marriott is bringing you Courtyard. But there's a lot of differences. So if you choose a blank company as an endorsement, that conveys that the company in question is part of a larger entity, but doesn't necessarily suggest integration. One might assume from a blank company endorsement that the company operates more or less independently. That may be good or may be bad. It may be true or it may be misleading, given the reality of the business, but it does evoke a certain feeling. A division of is another way to do this. Division implies, yes, there is some separateness, but it is interdependent. Divisions tend to be part of a larger whole, but tend to be a little bit more integrated than being a separate company. So a division of is a way to handle endorsements that sends a slightly different message. Some of the things that have become au courant in this market is powered by, or things like that, brought to you by for endorsements. Powered by suggests greater closeness, I think, that I would interpret something that is powered by something else to be closer to it, to be influenced by it, to be shaped and crafted and sculpted by it. It may be a distinctive product offering or solution offering, but compared to a blank company or a division of blank, powered by says greater closeness, suggests greater closeness and integration. So I'll wrap it up. This has been longer than an M&A minute, but when it comes to the endorsed approach, there's a lot of reasons to do it, the nomenclature that you choose, the words that you choose, convey a certain expectation. And so when we say don't sleep on the endorser, what we're suggesting is to give some thought and to be deliberate and purposeful with the actual nomenclature or the words of the endorsed brand approach to convey what you want to convey. If you're in a space where the independence of the company, the continued independence of the company, is a selling point to particularly loyal customers, that might be a time to think about a blank company. If what we're talking about are sort of co-equal divisions of a larger enterprise, then a division of might make some sense. If you're thinking about something that is a little bit more integrated and maybe where the master brand is known for technological acumen or innovation or something like that, powered by might make a lot of sense as a way of spreading that pixie dust of the endorsing brand into whatever it is we're bringing to market. So I've gone on way too long, but thank you for joining us, and don't sleep on the endorser.